and a lot of potential awkwardness. Now,
No, you think in this one.
hang on, should I turn this around? Oh, there we go. Ha! Much better. Minute and a half to figure it out. Thank you guys. I don't know if you guys can hear me now. Is the sound okay? Hello. Penny. Hey, how are you guys doing? Okay, so I was sent a bunch of questions. Well, first of all, I want to say episode 106 is excited about this episode, and finally, fans in the UK and Germany got to see it. Fans in North America got to see it Friday, and other places around the world. It's finally the episode where we start. We finally start peeling the onions on all of our, characters' backstory. So basically, this episode, you find out about how 5 gets on the ship. You find out what 6 did to end up on the ship. We find out what 4 did to start himself this kind of dark journey. And you also find out about this kid called Titch, who we assume is one, but we're going to find out. Tilt screen. Thank you guys for your, how's that, better? Excellent. So I got a bunch of questions, Sci-Fi UK. You guys sent some questions to Sci-Fi UK. They sent them my way. So what I'd like to do is maybe answer a few of those questions and then answer whatever questions you guys have throwing my way. So yes, Annie, the answer to your question is, I don't know. Could Titch be one? Could Titch be someone else? I don't know. Fusion Cat. Yes, actually, I still miss SG1. Can you hang on a sec? I got something I'm going to show you. Speaking of SG1, I ended up keeping a bunch of old props from my time on the show, and this gold paint stick is a keeper. I use it on awesome. So anyways, let's start with some of the questions. One of the questions comes from Nightcat, and she asks, did you have the entire final plot worked out beforehand, or did you just adjust things as filming went along? I've been developing this show for, say, 8 years, so I know exactly where we're going. I've got a 5-year plan. When we sat down to write the first season, I had all 13 episodes already in my head. So basically, Paul Mully, my co-creator, writing partner, and Martin Garrow, who wrote episode 107, which is an amazing episode, which airs next week. We all got together in the room. We broke the stories over the course of 2 weeks. There you have it. We have a plan. So basically, we're seeding in all these clues, and even little subtle elements that you're not even picking up on will pay off later on when we do the big reveals later in the season. So in answer to your question, yes, we know where we're going. However, as we cast the different characters, the different actors, we made a point of kind of adjusting things, because the actors brought something to the roles and to the parts, and like any good show, we make adjustments as we go along. Captain 2 asked, does Melissa O'Neill know how incredible she is? She should, because we remind her all the time. Melissa does a really good job of balancing kind of the strength of, the leadership role, but also kind of the empathy that she has to feel for the rest of the crew, and especially you see that in her relationship with Five. Also, Melissa does most of her own stunts, so, yes, absolutely right. She is incredibly humble. And this is her first actually TV gig. So, we were all amazed in the audition when we first got, and amazed with her every episode. She continues to grow. Question number 2, Abilene, is it more difficult to gain an audience connection with characters who don't really know who they are? I would say no. Actually, I love the fact that, because everybody kind of, doesn't have their memories, everybody starts off at a blank slate, just like the audience. So essentially, the audience is finding out, at the same time as our characters. Chris Disneyland, thanks so much. Great seeing you too. So in that respect, I love the fact that, the audience is finding out at the same time as the character. So there are no surprises, only surprises for each other. Somebody asked about season 2. I don't know yet. Hopefully we'll find out in the coming weeks. Having said that, I'm still feeling pretty confident, so confident in fact that I've got the 13 stories for season 2, and my writing partner and I, Paul Mully, have broken the first 4 episodes. So essentially we have outlines for the first 4 episodes. We know what the overall arc's going to be after the shocking conclusion of season 1, but you'll have to wait and see that. All the answers to the crew's memory loss by the end of the season, or will we have to wait until season 2? Well, one of the things I promised early on in the show was that we would have answers. So essentially we've set up a bunch of clues, a bunch of mysteries, and we're not going to answer everything, but a lot of the big questions that have been kind of, I'm sure, nagging you guys back home will be answers. First and foremost is who stole their memories and why. Episode 13. Big things happening in episode 13. In fact, actually, big things happening in every episode. Yeah, actually, that's true. Thank you, Annie the Mighty. Yes, there has to be a season 2, given all I've been talking about the season finale being such a shocker. I have no plans to come to Comic-Con. For those of you asking, if you want to see the cast, have the organizer contact the production company, because I'm sure they would love an invite, and I would love to actually come and check it out. How do I decide on the characters' first names? And is something that just popped up from Saris64. I just make them up. I'm actually, not that great at making up names, but I do okay. I did better than Rob Cooper on Stargate, who basically as of season 4, he just gave up on making up like alien names and just said, "Here, you do it." Usually, what I like to do is, I'll pick up the cast and crew list on the day, and I'll go through and just pick a crew member at random and just pick their last names or their first names. That's usually the best way to go. Another question comes from Fashion Love. How did you decide which characters would be male and female? In the comic book, we establish our characters as they are. But then when it came time to doing this series, I wanted to kind of address what I felt was, in the comic books, there's 5 male and 2 female. I wanted to make at least like a 4 and 3, or maybe even a 3 and 4. And so basically we just opened up, most of the roles to all genders and ethnicities. And the 2 big roles that actually were opened up, to both genders, that had a lot of action, if you will, were the android and the part of 4 that was, the android that was won by Zoe Palmer, and the character of 4 played by Alex Malari Jr. And they could have gone either way. I mean, we could have ended up with a male android and a female 4, but in the end, I'm really happy. With what we have now. Alex has been, like I said, dedicated. He wakes up at 3:30 so he can work out every day, and you see him use his weapons, and he's amazing. Just his stunt work is amazing, and his work ethic is amazing. Somebody just asked me about Zoe Palmer, and she is a people I've ever worked with, and somebody mentioned I can't imagine anyone else in the role of the android. Captain 2 asked, how exciting, exhausting it is to work on a series like this. I would have to say very. After writing the scripts, I was there for prep, and then you're waking up at 4:35 every morning, going to set, you're prepping episodes, you're rewriting episodes, you're in post, you're in editing. But one of the great things is your job is a whole lot easier if you have really capable, really great people to work with, which is the case here. It's an amazing cast, amazing crew. One of my partners in crime, Paul Mully, who's my co-writer, co-creator, is in Vancouver, and he basically oversees things, visual effects here. My partner, and of course, there's Jay Firestone, president of Prodigy Picture, who's been overseeing everything, and gets in the editing room as well, and gets the script, and generally gets his hands dirty. So it's exhausting but very satisfying, but looking forward to going back for season 2. Another question from Night Cat. It's looking increasingly like they're all good people. Did the nasty rep come with the ship? It's interesting you say it looks increasingly like they're all good people, because what we're doing is finding out what essentially led to their dark descent. So in the case of 4, we find out that he was a prince, and you find out that he's very principled and he cares about his younger brother, and then his father is murdered. He's framed for murder, and people automatically assume, oh, he's a nice guy. Well, yes and no. I mean, basically, he was a nice guy, but if you remember in episode 1, 5 is flashing back to a memory, and she says, well, I remember, after they killed my father, they came for me, but I carved out their eyes and left them for my mother to find. The eye carving is not, the sign of a good, well-balanced individual. It's the sign of someone who basically, is unhinged. So basically, 4 is a scary dude, and we're going to find out how scary in a couple of episodes. So, and as for the nasty rep, the ship's nasty rep, basically this crew, they were a nasty bunch. Again, we haven't found out 2's backstory. We haven't found out 1's backstory. We haven't found out 3's backstory. They're all to come. But one of the interesting things is the fact that no matter who they were before, like the fact that, for instance, 6, was complicit, unwittingly complicit in the death of 10,000s. He was a good-hearted guy before. Is he now? He seems to be. And yet, what did he do to end up on the Raza? Because apparently these people are, just the worst of the worst. If you have any more questions, I'll actually read them off the screen. As well. Sorry, they've been coming by sort of fast and furious. And thanks for all the little hearts there. I basically want to show you a special guest star on this Periscope. Hang on a sec. This is the original Bubba. Now, if you guys remember in episode 2 when 3, is talking to 1, he basically talks about his big gun, and he says he called it Bubba. Well, basically, this is Bubba, and my French bulldog Lulu, who is feeling under the weather right now, so I'm not going to bring her over, but put him here. 3's sidearm, his pistol, is named after Lulu, and then basically he has a second gun that Anthony called Pip, named after his friend's dog. So there you go, a little bit of an Easter egg, a little insight. And actually, Anthony Lemke, who's the actor who plays 3, was in Vancouver the other day, and we were on our way to San Diego. He stopped by and he crashed at our place, finished the milk, didn't replace it, didn't tell me. And we got a great picture of him actually holding Bubba. Now, if you guys would like to find out more about the show or get a look at some of the behind-the-scenes pics and videos and insights, I strongly urge you to check me out at Baron Destructo, exactly like it sounds, Baron Destructo. Or you can check me out on my blog. I blog every day. I've been blogging on Stargate, so there are like tons of behind-the-scene photos. You can check out. And you just have to check out my name. Just do a Google search for my name, Joseph Mallozzi, Mallozzi, or ZZI if you're in the US. And, it'll take you right there, and you can check out all the behind-the-scenes pics. So, yeah, but thank you. I need reading glasses as I'm trying to read. Loving Tabor Kalchik's wardrobe, as do I. As I said, basically, Tabor Kalchik, played by David Hewley, came in one day and shot all his scenes. His wardrobe was amazing. When the show was over, I'll be rating his wardrobe and taking it home. Somebody asked, was TJ in the last episode named after director TJ Scott? In fact, yes, director TJ Scott directed our first 2 episodes. He's presently on Gotham and, a bunch of other shows, I believe, The Strain as well. The kid who we discover in episode 3 mysteriously, was named after T.J. Scott. The character of 5, Das, or Das, if you will, was named after a blog regular. So this is why you guys should drop by the blog and post as much as possible. I take notice. The hearts are when new people start watching or comment. Good to know. Excellent. Well, David Hill will be back later in the show. Ask Kendra U. the answer is yes. David Hewlett will be returning soonish. So basically, yeah, he will be appearing in, let's say, episode-ish. So, we'll see the android smackdown between the two androids next episode. I don't know what you would have to be referring to. Next episode, we finally open the vault and spoiler alert, turn away from the screen or block your ears if you don't want to hear. We're going to find out about the, by the way, hey Cass, we're going to find out about what's inside the vault. And a couple of things they find out. One of the things they find is another android. And how to describe this episode? Basically, this android, unlike our android, who's very practical, utilitarian, is just created to sort of very logic-based entity. Our android, this new android, is an entertainment model, and so basically, she's programmed for fun, which our android clearly isn't. And if one of the things you notice about our android is that she's kind of unique and I won't say childish, but almost childlike in her behavior. She gets a little jealous. So, if you imagine, when you were in high school, you had a best friend, and then your best friend started hanging around with someone else. That's how she feels, and sort of, it's her reaction is really interesting. And this is one of my favorite Android episodes. And actually, I think this is probably my girlfriend Akemi's favorite episode of the season. Very funny, and there's this one crazy scene that we wrote. Actually, to be honest with you, we were kind of short, and it's a scene I wanted to do. The episode was running a little short, and it's a scene that I originally wanted to do, and I ended up writing it, and putting it in. And I remember my writing partner Paul watching the episode, not realizing what I had done, and thought at first, he's crazy, and then loving the scene. And I hope you guys love it too. I mean, basically, I can't give too much away, but it's going to be, I think, one of the more talked about scenes after next week's episode. So there you go. Would love to see firsthand how you put an episode together. Series 64. Basically, if you come by my blog, again, Joseph Mallozzi, Joseph Mallozzi. Check, do a Google search and it'll send you, right there. And, you just check out my blog. I mean, check out the tag for television production. And I give you guys especially on Stargate, a step-by-step progress of, breaking the episode, coming up with the outline, the writer's room, and then basically concept through to post, where basically, you get into those meetings every week, and you pick your costumes, you pick your actors, and you end up in editing, and suddenly, what is it, 9 months later, you have a baby / episode. Who would I like to see as a guest star? I'm keeping that under wraps. There's someone I would really love to have on the show. I've actually spoken to this individual, and hopefully we can have it worked out. They will be a guest star very early on. I see someone actually mentioned Anna Silk. I love Anna, and definitely I would love to have her on the show. So basically, Anna, if you're watching this, and I wouldn't understand why you wouldn't be, we'd love to have you. That's it. A couple of other little insights into episode 106. As many of you know, I worked with Jodelle, it was like 8 years ago on Stargate. And this was like her tour de force episode. And I remember, way back 8 years ago, she was 12 and she knew all her lines. She knew David Hewlett and Joe Flanagan's lines. And she was so good that, I just had to have her come in and audition for the role, and she nailed it. And someone else who does a fantastic job this episode is Roger Cross, who's a guy that I, always wanted to work with and finally had a chance here. And he does such a good job of conveying a sense of warmth, especially in those scenes with Five, and also wisdom as well. Somebody asks, any chance that fans can be an extra? You know what? I would love to have fans come by and be extras on the show. That's a conversation I should have with A and Vanessa and see if maybe we can arrange some sort of a contest And we used to do it on Stargate all the time when we'd have like was contest. Get on the Raza. I don't know, maybe. Sure, I'd love to see that. But it would be out of my hands. I would just basically have someone else, arrange it. Annie Devine said, "This is my first time seeing Jodell's work. I am so amazed by her talent and emotion on screen." Yes, what you should do is also check out a episode where she plays a 12-year-old princess and just kicks ass. That was the role that won her this role. Yeah, as for Roger, that warehouse scene where he makes the pitch to Five and basically tells her, come on, you got to come back, was the audition scene for his character, which he nailed beautifully. One of the great things about about the show was that we were so well prepared. We had 9 scripts ready to go before we even went to camera. So we were able to pick the very best scenes for each character in their auditions. And that I thought was like a really strong scene for the character of Six. And it was just such a hard scene to pull off. And Roger was able to do it with, I said, the warmth and, kind of a believability. And I noticed that right off the bat, a lot of fans just love Roger's character. And even though we haven't seen very much of his character in those first 5 episodes, I mean, characters, although now moving forward we'll learn a lot more, he just there's just a likability or vulnerability that he possesses that I think just I hope you guys will agree, that just allows fans to just totally warm up to him. And someone Fusion Cat always also mentions Five is a great character, maybe the most interesting initially. And, I would agree too. I think the great thing about this show is that there are 7 different characters, and all 7 of them are very different. So basically everybody can have their favorite. Can you give us a hint regarding the most exciting things to come for the show? Okay. I guess I could. These aren't really spoilers. I'm going to call them teasers, but episode 7, we talked about the other android played by Ruby Rose, who those of you in Australia may know. Those of you who are up early in Australia may know. And we're actually going to find out some insight into 3's backstory, which is another side of 3, which is actually very interesting. As the series progresses, we begin to learn more about specifically 1, who he is and why he ended up on the ship, which is going to be a surprise. We're going to find out about more about the characters of 4 and 6 and, their quest for revenge. We're going to find out about the character of 2, of course. What's her deal? I mean, she's the one who we know, frankly, in terms of backstory. And there's also a pretty major revelation about the android, which is going to happen later on in the season. Her Highness, her Highness, when I wasn't at work. Well, now that I think I've got it kind of figured out, and as it turns out, I haven't been talking to myself or sitting here alone talking to myself for the past half hour. I've got it all figured out. I'd like to do maybe another one of these for the North American audience as well, or maybe doing another one for the UK in the not too distant future. Somebody has a theory. Kendra 3 is a law enforcement that infiltrated the Raza, isn't he? I don't know. Is he? Maybe. I don't know. Are they clones? Maybe. Are they from an alternate dimension? Maybe. Or, even better, at the end of episode 13, they wake up from their stasis pods and it turns out the entire first season was a dream. Huh? You like that? I know you wouldn't. So I guess that's it. I mean, maybe I'll do another 5 minutes. Basically, I was only going to go 50. Annie, yes, thank you. I enjoy being fan friendly. I mean, it's a delight. HVDLEY Killjoy's crossover, would love to. They're bounty hunters. We're the type of people that run from bounty hunters. So yeah, I would love to do a crossover. LGBT characters in future, quite possibly. Who knows what the future holds? I mean, basically, I said we're just peeling the onions on these various characters, and we're just at the very surface right now, finding out who they are. So who knows what's in store for each of the individual characters. Like I said, 106 was a great episode. I was very excited for you guys to check it out because, like I said, finally some answers. Someone asks, vegan gal asks, any more fight scenes by the android? Yes, actually a huge one in episode 12. You and the crew are always so awesome on Twitter. A huge thank you. Well, thank you guys for tuning in and watching the show, supporting the show, tweeting about it, allowing us to trend these past couple of weeks. And hopefully get the word out about the show and really help build the audience. We're doing really well internationally, Canada and the US. So hopefully we'll begin to build, and it'll all be thanks to you guys. So thanks a lot, and I'm gonna try to figure out how to turn it off now. Either I'm gonna find a way to turn it off, or for the next 3 hours you guys are gonna be privy to me sitting here watching old episodes of the 1960s SpiderMan. Wouldn't that be fun? Would you use transfer transit if it existed? Somebody said, absolutely. It's 100% safe. You get in a pod, your mind is transferred to a clone's body, and then you just spend 24 to 48 hours, gathering memories and having fun, and then basically you return to the pod and your memories are transferred back to your original, your clone is recycled. Or if you don't make it back to the pod before then your memories are lost because the clone body will die. Because as we know, clones in our universe only have a 24 to 48, maybe 72 hour lifespan. Are there any, so they couldn't possibly be clones. Anyways, in fact, yes, somebody asked about Ralph's old Spider-Man. Yes, I'm a big fan of the old cartoons, and I've got the box set of the 1967 Spider-Man sitting downstairs. I want to do a marathon, but no one will sit down and do the marathon with me. Is that sad or what? Yeah. All right. Pull the screen down, option end. Thank you guys for coming. Loved having you. Oh, here it is. The stop broadcast button. This was most informative. Thank you. And thank you for teaching me actually how to work this. Actually, this was so much fun. We should do it again sometime. In fact, I think I'm going to do it all the time and annoy the hell out of you guys. Oh, it's Joe on Periscope again. How annoying. All right. Talk to you guys later. See you on Twitter. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for watching this Periscope. And hopefully I saved it so that those of you who couldn't make it will be able to watch it later. But I make no promises because of my ineptitude, clear ineptitude. Have a good day.